Thank you so much for seeing me on such short notice, Doctor. That's my job. Let's get you strapped in. You know, the way things are in this state, I wasn't even sure I could. After everything that's happened. Yes, terrible things happen. Just like the terrible thing that's about to happen to the life inside of you. Doctor, what is happening?
Shut up!
What is happening?
I will not be questioned by a sinner!
No, please, let me go.
Tell me, are you familiar with the Clockwork Orange? Maybe 24 hours of VeggieTales will set you straight.
Please, God, help me.
No. Oh no. No, it can't be.
Anime Satan!
はじめまして、私、セータンです。あなたの囚人を解放します。
No, please. バカ！神を知っていました。あなたは彼の仕事を知らない。No, please.
お前は死んでる。
何？
スペシャルセータンアタック！
イエーイ！
How can I ever thank you, Anime Satan?
いつも野菜を食べる。
Abortion. The solution to both a rapidly descending aircraft and a number of otherwise terrifying situations. Now, normally my opinion on abortion is that it's not my uterus, it's not my business to talk about it, which that's gonna make this next bit sound hypocritical because, and I cannot stress this enough, I do not have a uterus. I know, shocking. Believe me, I'm more disappointed by it than you are. B, I would like to talk a little bit about abortion tonight. How abortion is being threatened by the current administration, what you can do to change that, and a few people who are out there fighting for your ability to choose. Now, if this video doesn't really sound your speed, feel free to dislike the video and abort it. For the rest of y'all, sit back and enjoy. Now, before we get too into our main topic tonight, I would like to briefly touch on Donald Trump's nominee to replace the notorious RBG as Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett. Judge Amy Coney Barrett. A woman who looks and acts like a real-life Disney antagonist. The kind I would totally search Rule 34 of, but a Disney villain nonetheless. Moving past my creepy 48-year-old woman fetish, I just want to bring attention to the kind of person Judge Barrett is and where she stands politically. Judge Barrett is a conservative judge who cut her teeth as a law clerk for Anthony Scalia and was a finalist for what is currently Brett Kavanaugh's position. Though not a traditional moderate, she has shown propensity to be sort of a wild card, such as when she was a law professor and acted in favor of students with disabilities who were not adequately catered to by the college. She has also been quoted as saying that the adherence to precedents might be unlawful if it conflicts with the original meaning of the Constitution, which sort of a bold claim for a judge who is not supposed to debate the law but simply rule on it as is, verbatim. All that being said, she has come under hard fire by critics who claim she could assist in overturning Roe v. Wade, which, given the fact that she would be the 6th conservative judge on the Supreme Court, passing almost anything would be a breeze. Judge Barrett has already been on record siding with pro-life groups in the Catholic community. Oh, and not to mention, Trump is already on record saying this in the 2016 debates.
Do you want the court, including the justices that you will name, to overturn Roe v. Wade, which includes, in fact states, a woman's right to abortion?
Well, if that would happen, because I am pro-life and I will be appointing pro-life judges, I would think that that will go back to the individual states.
But I'm asking you specifically, would you
If
like
they
to...
overturned it, it'll go back to the states.
But what I'm asking you, sir, is Do you want to see the court overturn? You just said you want to see the court protect the Second Amendment. Do you want to see the court overturn Roe
Well,
v.
if
Wade?
we put another 2 or perhaps 3 justices on, that's really what's going to be, will happen.
Plus, the lady has 7 kids. I mean, literally 7. Once you hit pitching distance of Octomom, it's almost guaranteed you're anti-abortion. However, I said I wanted to touch on this briefly because that's a whole other Titanic issue most of us have no control over. Instead, our main story is about people handling issues that a lot of us do have control over. Now, in that opening skit, you might have thought that the pretend abortion clinic thing was just something I made up for the joke. Well, and this is shocking, it isn't. It's a real thing. In states such as North Carolina, so-called crisis pregnancy centers, or CPCs, act almost identically to abortion clinics, even down to fake scrubs and medical equipment. However, the biggest difference is that they're generally unregulated, unlicensed, and they're not fucking abortion clinics. CPCs will use convincing advertisements similar to licensed abortion clinics, oftentimes something to the effect of free pregnancy tests and counseling. What happens next might not be the Clockwork Orange joke I made in the beginning, but it is some serious psychological torment and manipulation. The people who go through these counseling sessions will be guilted and shamed for their decision, sometimes on a religious basis. These CPCs will often spread misinformation such as abortions cause breast cancer, sterility, hair loss, or psychological damage. That last one might be true. Again, sadly, I have no cervix, but I can empathize that it might be a very traumatic experience for some. These clinics are everywhere, and not just in North Carolina, and they are disgusting. In a lot of states that CPCs operate openly in, many of them already require a 72-hour waiting period and mandatory literature before a procedure can be approved. Needless to say, people in these situations are pressed for time. With applicants at most having only 24 weeks to get the procedure, to spend so much time jumping through government hoops only to be bamboozled by religious nutjobs during a surely confusing and terrifying time in your life must feel awful. What can we even do? Well, stay with me, because I know this is a lot, and this subject matter is sensitive to many, but it is absolutely imperative that we establish all the variables, so we're going to take a short kitten break. If you were forged in the cesspools of Something Awful, Newgrounds, and Neopets.com, chances are you've ironically signed up for a satanic newsletter or 3. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Satanic Temple specifically, which is of course different from the Temple of Satan, practicers of LaVeyanism, which brought you such hits as the Satanic Panic of the early 80s, which is different from Sessionism or the Temple of Set, which brought you such exaggerated views of Wicca as the Craft, which is of course different from theistic Satanism, the ritualistic faith found most often in black metal groups like King Diamond, which is different from the Joy of Satan, which is an alt-right group where neo-Nazis cosplay religion to defend their bigotry through faith. Needless to say, Satanism is a lot less specific and umbrella term than, say, Christianity. The Satanic Temple was originally founded in 2013, though their roots can be traced to the Bush era. Founder of the Satanic Temple and certified goth daddy, Lucien Greaves, despite being too hot to function, was inspired by the Bush-era White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. Lucien sought out to create an organization that met all of the White House's prerequisites of being a faith-based organization while being as absolutely repugnant to the creators of those guidelines as possible. The Satanic Temple is best described by their tagline: empathy, reason, and advocacy. The group started with political motivations in mind, with the goal of exposing how faith-based legislation can be exploited by anyone. The Temple of Satan has accomplished many political goals, such as fighting corporal punishment in schools and acting in favor of transgender rights. While not all of their actions are so grown up and political. In response to the notorious hate group the Westboro Baptist Church, the Church of Satan held a, quote, pink mass overtop the graves of the Phelps matriarch Katherine Johnston Invoking traditional masses of the Latter-day Saints, the group sought to turn Katherine Johnston gay post-mortem, whilst Hot Topic DILF Lucian Greaves urinated on her grave. A healthy balance of pranks and serious politics, the Temple of Satan has proved itself an active defender of personal freedoms for the last 7 years. If you'd like to know more about the Temple of Satan and sexy Satanist Lucian himself, let me know, because there is enough content to warrant its own video. Ooh boy, he's got enough content. Moving forward to our one-dimensional antagonist, Lamar. They're, an advertising company. Not too special, to be honest. Chances are, if you're an American, you are familiar with the number of billboards they own, as in many states they have a monopoly on such advertising real estate. Now, you're probably thinking, Sierra, what the actual hell are you talking about? Wrap this up, I've got stuff to do. Well, chill, okay? Just chill out, we're almost there. So, the Satanic Temple is suing Lamar Advertising for religious discrimination and breach of contract in the states of Arkansas and Indiana, which, as I briefly mentioned, are two states in which Lamar holds monopoly on billboards. You see, much like when the devil went down to Georgia, the Satanic Temple went down to Arkansas. They were looking for a soul to free. They were in a bind. They were way behind to protest a CPC. Basically, they wanted to post billboards outside of crisis pregnancy centers with such iconic slogans as, "What if abortion had been an option?" or generic retro throwback. When approaching Lamar about purchasing the advertising rights, the Satanic Temple told Lamar the artwork would be pro-reproductive rights and aligned with the temple's religious beliefs. Something Lamar assured them would be no problem whatsoever. That is, until it was a problem. Lamar has since rejected several rounds of design changes, citing them as misleading and offensive. The Satanic Temple has been very open about their willingness to change the designs. However, Lamar has refused to identify any problematic components of advertising, making it impossible to find a healthy medium. This has led to the Satanic Temple pursuing legal action against Lamar on the grounds of religious discrimination and breach of contract. This case is recently developing, and I am no legal professional, but idealistically in a fair legal system, it would sound like the Satanic Temple is due restitution. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is certainly not the first time the Satanic Temple has challenged the law and private enterprise to promote personal freedom and social justice. Which brings us to the end of our story tonight. Abortions are important. Sometimes life happens, and even worse, sometimes terrifying life happens. There are many reasons to get an abortion, but at the end of the day, it's just simply not the business of the government to decide what people do with their uterus. I know that given the tone of current and past administrations, it might seem like a fruitless effort, that it's inevitable that Roe v. Wade is going to be overturned. Not all hope is lost, though. There is a real problem we can actually solve. My generation, and those before me, pretty much anybody 30 and under, we have a terrible problem of only voting when it's trendy. I mean, if you look at the turnout of voters, the demographic under 30 shows up on average at most 30% of our voter base. And unfortunately, the way the United States voting system is set up is that it doesn't matter when we vote on these federal elections because it's our electoral representatives who vote for the president. Which means that if we want to have our voices heard, we need to make it trendy to vote on the state and local levels. I don't care if it's your comptroller, your governor, your actual representatives, you need to get out there and vote. You know who's voting in 70 percentiles? The friggin' boomers. The people that voted Trump in. The people that thought that Biden was a genuinely good choice. These are the people that are voting in the elections that matter. These are the people deciding the people who decide our fate, our president, our country, and most of us are too lazy to get out and vote on the local level. Look, I get it. Politics is frustrating. And we've all been getting the shaft, okay? The generation that came before us left us a terrible economy. They left us a rigged political system that's constantly bickering between two completely useless parties. But if we want change, if we youngers want to change this, we have to get out and vote on the local level. We need to make our voices heard. And you know what? If we want to see real change, maybe we need to take a page out of Satan's book and fight this thing in the courts. We need to fight this thing along every step and in every way we can. We need to vote in the primaries. We need to vote federally. We need to vote locally. We need to make our voices heard. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm going to close this up right here. I love all of you. I'm proud of all of you. We're getting older. We need to take control of this country if we want it to change. We can't expect the elders to want to change this. We can't expect establishment politicians like Democrats or Republicans to give a crap about moving forward. We need to do that. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.